I'm Alison. I am going to teach you today some Pilates. Just a few things before we start, just to make sure that when you're doing the exercises that you make sure that everything feels right for your bodies, that if there's any pain or discomfort, don't do the exercise or just ease back a level. I'm going to be giving you levels, different options. So for each exercise, or for most of the exercises, there will be different options for you to try depending on how your bodies are feeling. So if anything doesn't feel right to you, like I say, drop back a level, try the more simple option, or if you feel like you want to challenge yourselves a bit more, of course, I welcome you to try the more advanced levels. So to push yourselves a little bit and test out your confidence and your ability. And obviously by pushing yourself gently, you will develop, you will strengthen, and you'll become more confident in your abilities. So just to start with, I'm going to treat this as an open level Pilates class. So whatever your experience is in Pilates, hopefully this will suit you. So if you haven't tried Pilates before, I'll try and be really clear in the instructions for any exercises. If you have tried Pilates before, like I say, hopefully you'll just be able to drop straight into the options, fast forward any chatting if you want to. That's the beauty of it being recorded. And yes, so I hope you enjoy. I'm going to just start with a very gentle warm-up to start getting your bodies moving. Okay, so to start with, we're going to start with our feet in hip distance apart. I'm going to just adjust my screen slightly. So you want to make sure that your feet are below the bony bits in your hips. And your feet are nice and relaxed on the floor. There's a little bit of bend in the knees. So the knees aren't locked back, you've got a little bit of bend in the knees. And then we're going to roll the shoulders back and squeeze them down behind us to make sure we create length in the neck, lifting out through the top of the head. Okay, and then we're going to connect with our core. So that's our alignment. We are now connect with our core. So I want you to think about lifting up in that pelvic floor. So the pelvic floor, the muscles that we squeeze to help us stop peeing from mid-flow. It's the only way to describe it. So we're going to just gently lift up in our pelvic floor muscles. We don't want it to be a tense, uncomfortable feeling. We want it to be just a little bit of awareness and that lift there in the pelvic floor. And also drawing the belly button through to the spine. So just gently drawing the tummy muscles in through to the spine. And it's a general feeling of lifting from the back up the front as if you're zipping up a pair of jeans that are slightly a size too small for you. All right, and then we're going to connect with our breath. You can close your eyes at any point if you want to, just to help you really take your focus inwards and just really center yourselves. I sometimes advise that you put your hands onto the lower rib cage here. And you want to think about breathing into your hands. So we're not breathing into the tummy and we're not breathing into the chest. We don't want our shoulders to start lifting up. We want to keep them nice and relaxed. So we're breathing into the lower rib cage, in through the nose. And as you exhale, breathe out through the mouth as if you're breathing out through a straw, through pursed lips. Inhale in through the nose. Exhale out through the mouth. Close your eyes if you need to. You're breathing in through the nose. Next time you breathe out again, thinking about now lifting up in the pelvic floor and drawing that belly button through to the spine. So you're connecting with your core as you breathe out. Breathing in again. And next time you breathe out again, engaging in the core, pelvic floor, belly button, spine. And this time just checking through the body that your feet are still relaxing to the floor, knees slightly bent, shoulders dropping back and down, nice and relaxed. Leading out through the top of the head. And then drop the arms by the side. Just try and relax the arms as much as you can now. Just take one more of those breaths. Again, breathing into that lower rib cage. Now your hands are released, so you can still practice breathing into the lower rib cage. Filling the lungs with air. And exhaling all of the air out of the lungs. All right, so that's our alignment, our A, our breath, our B, and our core is the C. A, B, C of Pilates. All right, so we're going to go now with some arm circles. So just starting to warm up the shoulder joints. And really try and lift those shoulders right up to the ears, squeezing them as far behind you as you can. And almost trying to meet the shoulders at the front. So you're just really making that circle as big as you possibly can. And try and just coordinate with the breath in a way that feels right for you. Sometimes I will give some guidance as to how to breathe. But generally, we want to make sure we're making the most of those deep breaths. Hands to shoulders. So we're still thinking, even though this is in the upper body and the arms, we're still thinking about lifting up in the pelvic floor, drawing the belly button through to the spine. Again, almost trying to meet your elbows at the front as much as squeezing the shoulder blades behind you. Big circles with the arms, energy out through to the fingertips. This is where we discover working out at home, we don't have enough room around us. And then starting to make those circles smaller. So I do apologise that I've got slightly the top of my head chopped off here, but I think the more important part of my body at the moment is my shoulders down to my, well, maybe my knees. And then we're going to circle those shoulders and arms forward, starting small. So hopefully you'll start feeling that lovely warmth coming through the shoulders into the rest of the body. Oh, yes. And keep going with those deep breaths. They will help the movement, help you to sustain this movement for a little bit longer. Drop the arms, just taking the circles into the shoulders. Lovely, and then just a couple more circles of those shoulders back just to reset them and drop the shoulders down. And then taking the ear over to the shoulder, just lengthening out the side of the neck. If you want to just gently rest a hand onto the opposite shoulder. So don't pull down, but just let the natural weight of the hand just gently ease up that trapezius muscle up here. You can give it a little massage, oh, that feels good. And take those deep breaths. So in any stretch, making the most of the breath, just to help you, just to relax internally, release the muscle tension. Still relaxing the feet, still keeping the knees slightly bent and soft. Arm drops, and then we're going to take the tilts over to the side. Keep that belly button drawing through to the spine. Inhale, center. Exhale. Inhale, center. So just starting to mobilize the spine now with some lateral flexion. So we're keeping that belly button drawing through to the spine just to protect the lower back. Sliding the hand up the side of the body, so opening out in the rib cage. Inhale, center, exhale over. And then taking a reach up and over. So arm lifting up and out. Can you see what I'm doing with my arm there? And over to the other side. Inhale, center. Exhale. Inhale, center. Exhale. Lovely, and then we're just going to hold it over, just keeping that reach. So when I'm kind of reaching my arm, I'm going to go down with my knees so you can see to the diagonal. So I'm lifting up and out of my rib cage here, lifting up and out of the waist. Inhale, center. So you can stay on your feet, by the way. I'm just dropping down because unfortunately I don't have the distance between myself and my computer, so that you can see what's going on at the top of my at the top of my arm. Back to center, and just release out the arms. Give them a little release off, and then a little spiral out. Just let the back knee follow the line of movement, just to release that off. Good, and a little bit more rotation for the spine now. So shoulders rolled back and down, pressing the palms together, belly button through to the spine. Nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, rotating. Inhale, center. So we're being guided by the breath to determine how long that movement should last. So I'm breathing out, breathing out. And it's only when I need to breathe in again that I come back to center. So Pilates is always a very smooth, controlled, slow way of moving. There's nothing rushed or jolting. Sorry, my vocabulary's gone. Everything's always very smooth and precise and calm. Keep those shoulders pressing back and down, your feet relaxed into the floor, knees slightly bent still. And 2 more. So you should feel as you rotate to the side a bit of a gentle contraction down the side of the body. Inhale, center, and release off. And just roll those shoulders out. And then we're going to do some flagpole raises with a rise up onto the toes. So just adjust my mat here. So we're going to bring the arms up, rising onto the toes. Inhale down, bending the knees, rising up. Making sure, of course, that you don't let those knees knock together, that you've still got your knees hip width apart as much as your feet are hip width apart. Oh, this is very test our balance. Again, another feature of Pilates is introducing balance, as all those tiny little muscles are coming into play throughout the body to help us resist against gravity. So it's a really good way of working deep into the muscles and also toning the legs at the same time. So you should find that your calf muscles are going to start singing to you. So keep those deep breaths going. So breathing in as you come down, out as you come up. And as a general rule, we normally say exhale on the exertion. So we're resisting, we're pushing against gravity as we go up. We're defying gravity. And that's when we're going to be needing that out breath. In breath to prepare, out breath up. And now we're going to hold it up onto our toes. And we're going to pulse the heels, down, up, down, up, down, up. Oh yeah, feeling that now, down, up, down, up, down, up. Down, up and hold, and as a bit of fun, try and take the weight over to one side. Heel down is the option here, but see if you can challenge yourself to take one foot off while still on that rise and back to center, and see if you can go to the other side. Got to think inner calm, nice deep breaths. Try not to hold your breath with concentration. And release. Oh, my shocking, terrible balance there. Roll off those shoulders. Okay, and just have a little release out of the legs. If you need to have a little lower leg stretch, little calf stretch, making sure both feet are pointing directly forwards. Go up. Use the balance again. If you like here, you can roll the shoulders back, have a little stretch across the chest. Try and get that back heel down. And then changing legs. This time, stretching forward. So Pilates is about strengthening and toning as much as it is about flexibility as well. So I will intersperse the toning exercises with some stretches just to release out the muscles. We want to lengthen out the muscles. Taking those deep breaths to help relax the muscles as much as we can, finding a little bit of extra movement in our stretches. All right, good. So now we're going to take it into our Pilates squat. So we're going to now, from where our feet were hip distance apart, turn the toes out slightly and then adjust the heels. So it's going a little bit wider than hip distance now. And a Pilates squat, we're going to take the weight back into our heels. So we've still got that bend in the knees and center the tailbone back. So the idea is you want to try and, as much as possible, keep those knees over the ankles rather than pushing forward of the ankles. And we're going to send that tailbone down and behind us, lifting the chest as much as we can. So as opposed to coming down like this, can you see my torso dropped? You want to keep that alignment of the spine, keep the belly button lifted. And we can bring our hands to prayer position, because we might need it. Okay, coming up, keeping the knees slightly bent, and then we're going down, belly button to spine, taking the weight back into the heels, really stick that bottom out, and down, and up. So I'm going to breathe in as I come down, exhale up on the exertion, little squeeze in the glutes. And you can gradually go deeper. So I advise you just to go easy at the start. You know, you don't have to go so deep, and then gradually getting a bit deeper each time. So squeeze in the glutes, a little bit of a squeeze in the pelvic floor as you come up. Great opportunity to get that pelvic floor working. That's it. So we're going to go 4 more, going a little bit deeper now if you can. Now your joints are going to be a bit warmer. Finding the flexion in the hips and the knees. 2 more. Squeeze it up. 1 more. Now we're going to hold it down. Didn't warn you about that one, did I? We're going to hold it down here. All right, so here we are in our Pilates squat. Come up if you need to, but see if you can challenge yourself to hold it down. Lifting the heel of the right foot. Inhale, lower. Exhale, heel of the left. Inhale, lower. Right. Left. Keep the belly button drawn through to the spine. Now keep it going alternates, or you can have a go at lifting up both heels. Try not to let your pelvis rise up. 2 more. Ooh, feeling that. Oh, a little bit deeper if you can, and squeezing up. Oh, wow. Don't know about you, but I could feel that. So lifting those knees up high. You might feel you need a little quad stretch here. Hold on to a wall if you need to. Keeping your knees close together so they're not out to the side here and not just dipping into that hip. Keep your hips level. Gently pushing the pelvis forward into that hip. If you can't reach that foot, don't worry, just keep it lifted or keep easing your legs out in another way. We probably end up doing a little quad stretch on the floor as well. Some find it easier to do it when we're on the floor. Nice deep breaths. All right, release off. And then finally, I like to do a good standing section. So we're going to do a little balance here. So we're going to test our balance. Holding onto the wall is still the option, okay? Toes on the floor, the option as well. But we're just going to go for some simple leg lifts. So we're going to go forward. If you want to keep your toes on the floor, you can just take the leg forward to center. To the side, you can lift and center. To the back and center, side. So still with a little bit of bend in that supporting leg, trying to relax the feet of the supporting leg on the floor. Don't forget toes on the option, toes on the floor is the option. And when I'm taking it back, it doesn't have to go that high. It's just when you start feeling that contraction in the bum, in the glutes, and at the top of the leg, you'll know that you've hit it. You don't have to worry about tilting your body forward because that will be counterproductive. You won't get that lovely engagement here if you're a little tilting forward, okay? So you don't have to go up high behind you. Forward, side, back, side, and again. Forward, side, back, side. And then we're going to have a go at big, wide half circles, forward and back. Again, supporting leg is slightly bent. Try to keep those hips as stable as possible. Toes on the floor, still the option. Belly button drawn through to the spine. Back to center. And shake those hips out, well done. So all those stability exercises where we're supporting the weight on one leg, you're going to feel it in that hip for that supporting side. As much as we're finding the mobility, increasing mobility and working the muscles in the supporting leg and working the core. There's so much going on. All right, we're going to go on to the other leg. Taking it forward. So remember, you can have the toes on the floor here if you wanted to. And keep that breath going. Don't hold the breath. There's a tendency to hold the breath when you're concentrating. You might find a little rhythm. You go forward and side, breathing out as you go back and side. Belly button drawing through to the spine. Shoulders relaxed. And then we're going to take those half circles, taking it round as wide as you can. Imagine you're drawing a line from the tips of your toes, and you can have the thighs just touch at the front and the back if you want to, finding that full range of motion. And if you want to, you can then try and challenge yourself to lift that leg as high as you can, which is a toughie. And one more. Oh, yes, there we go. Give those hips a switch. Little figure of 8 out. And then we're going to do more on the floor that will stretch out those hips, but I do like a bit of a sumo stretch here, if it feels good for you. So we're going to try and get those knees just over the ankles again, not rolling forward. Some people like to do this with the elbows. Have a little switch from side to side, invert shoulder just to increase the stretch. If you want to, toes forward, hands on the floor. You can stretch your legs here if you like, looking through the legs, or keep the knees slightly bent. I like to stretch my legs and then bend just a couple of times, just to really release up those muscles. Having a stretch. Inhale as I bend, exhale as I straighten. And then bending the knees, belly button to spine, slowly rolling up. Rolling the shoulders back. And that is our standing section completed. I almost lost my balance again. Okay, so we're gonna now find our way down to the floor. Okay, so you're from here, just rolling down a few times, rolling down, breathing in at the bottom, breathing out, rolling up, keeping the chin on the chest, belly button to spine, rolling the shoulders back and breathing in at the top. Exhale down, belly button to spine, chin on the chest, looking through the legs or down the fronts of the legs, and then finding your way down to the crouch, and then finding your way out onto all fours. However you feel right, you know, this works for you. You don't have to take that route just to find your way onto all fours. But as an option, you could keep the knees lifted if you feel up to it, lowering the knees down, untucking the toes, roll the shoulders back. Belly button lifted, so you're not dropping down in the middle of the back. And nor do you want to lift it so much that you're hunching over. So keeping the shoulders back and down, lengthening out through the top of the head. Brilliant way to check this is by looking in the mirror if you've got a bigger mirror, just to check your alignment here. All right, so you're going to pad through one hand to the other, making sure that the hands always go directly underneath the shoulders. Your knees are directly underneath your hips, at hip distance apart. If you want to, you can circle the arm round. And the idea is to keep your torso as stable as possible for whichever version you're doing. So you're avoiding any rocks in the torso. Imagine you're carrying a tray of drink on your back. You don't want to spill a drop of drink. Keeping those nice deep breaths going. Belly button lifted. And then if you want to just test a little bit of arm strength, both hands back down on the floor, just in very small little press ups. Remember, exhale on the exertion, so breathing in to come down. Keeping the shoulders pressing back and down. So you're just trying not to let yourself sink your head down. You're just bending the arms here, not drawing the chin down. You want to keep your lovely alignment with the spine. All right, and then we're going to take that into Superman. So there are options here. You don't have to take arm and leg off. You can just keep fingertips and toes on the mat if you want to. That's option one, changing from one side to the other. Option two, taking the arm to shoulder height and the leg to hip height. Inhale, lower. Exhale. Extending out through fingertips and toes. So energy out, I like to think of it as laser beams. This is called the Superman. So you could think of energy shooting through the fingertips and toes. If you didn't want to do arms, you could just do legs. Minimizing any wobble from side to side. And it's difficult to show the angles on recording like this, but you don't want to let that hip lift up or too high. You want to keep the hip parallel to the floor. Can you see that difference? Not this, but here, keeping the hip parallel to the floor. So nothing really changes in the hips or the torso. It's just the legs and arms that are moving as much as possible. Of course, there will be a little bit of rock in the torso. So off you go. We could count 8 from the first one. So 8, change over, 7, 6. I have to keep checking the screen to make sure that I'm doing it right for you. Keep that belly button lifted. 3. If there's any pain or discomfort, then ease off. You might be starting to feel it in your wrists, should I say? If you're feeling it in your wrists, you know, it's too much, then just ease off. I think this is about the last one. I might have gone a couple of extra. But another nice tip is if you really spread those fingers out on the mat, it takes some of the pressure off the wrists. So we're going to sit back into child's pose, reaching the fingertips as far forward as you can. Have a little gentle rock from side to side. Rotating out those wrists. You need to release off tension in the wrists. Keep the fingertips reaching away from you, and you can feel that lovely stretch down the side of the body here. Rest the forehead on the mat if you can. And really feel that back with air. All right, and just roll up so you can watch what's going on next. So we're going to just take a little bit of a variation of the Superman. So now we're going to hold it up here. We're going to hold it here for a few breaths. And then we're going to do little pulses up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then we're going to take the arm and leg out to the side. Inhale, center. Exhale out to the side. So you can see my arm and leg are staying parallel to the floor. They're not dipping down. You want to try and keep arm and leg parallel to the floor. And it's just going to, imagine a diagonal line through the centre of the body. But my torso is not moving with it. It's the arm and the leg that's moving. Okay, so we'll do it maybe 4 on one side and then 4 on the other. Okay, so when you're ready, let's go right arm, left leg to start with. Rolling those shoulders back and down. Nice deep breath in, prepare, belly button lifting up to the spine, and off we go. Holding it here, nice deep breaths. Keeping those elbows slightly bent, so don't lock in that elbow, the supporting arm. And then we're going to pulse up for 8, 7, 6, 5. Keep breathing. 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Now we're going to take the arm and leg out to the side. Inhale as it comes to center. Exhale, change out to the side. Inhale, center. 2 more. Belly button lifted. 1 more. Inhale, center. Slowly lower down. All right, sit back and just release off the wrist of the left side because you're probably feeling it. I know I am. Okay, roll up. Roll the shoulders back. Reset onto left arm, right leg, okay? We're gonna go again. Taking it out. So this is so beneficial for the core, the muscles in the arm. You should start to feel it probably in the tricep. Of course, shoulder strength, and also in the bottom, in the glutes. Really good all-rounder. Nice deep breaths, and then we're going to pulse up. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, belly button lifted, 2, 1, center. Now taking that arm and legs to the side. Inhale, center. I can't actually take it to the side because I'm hitting onto the wall here. There we go. Just had to flex my foot. 2 more. And 1 more. Try not to let it drop below shoulder and hip height. Inhale, lower. And then taking it back into child's pose. Well done. Reaching the fingertips forward, rotating out the wrists. Okay. And a lovely way to increase the stretch here, taking the right hand wider than the mat and placing the left hand on top. Forehead down to the floor if you can. Really trying to get the bottom down towards the heels. And changing over, left hand wider than the mat, right hand on top. Rub the palms of the hands together, helps to just find the feeling in the wrists and the palms. Cat stretch is a lovely one here as well. These are all optional stretches, you know, just do whatever feels right for you. I quite like a cat stretch, keeping the C shape of the spine and then taking the heels back to the hips back to the heels. Flatten the back onto all fours. Inhale, curve. Exhale, flatten, back to all fours. Inhale, curve. Exhale, flatten. Inhale, curve. Exhale, flatten. Roll those shoulders a little bit out. And now we're going to come onto our tummies. And you need to have your arms here in this cactus-like position. So right angles in the arms. So we're going to come onto our tummies. Oh. So just to say, exercises, a lot of these exercises aren't probably right if you're pregnant, especially not ones that are lying on your front in this prone position. So you decide how it feels for you. You know, there are very sort of specific sets of exercises if you're pregnant. So yeah, we can maybe do another video for pregnancy if you're at different stages of pregnancy as well sometime. All right, so we're going to lengthen out through the top of the head here. And inhale, lower. And you want to keep your belly button lifted up off the floor. And I'm not coming up high, it's just my hands and shoulders, my hands and elbows are still on the floor. Keep that belly button lifted up. So imagine you've got a drawing pin underneath your belly button. You don't want to prickle yourself on that drawing pin. Keep the focus down on the mat, so don't come up with your head. Keeping the focus down on the mat, so you're keeping that lovely alignment of the spine. No change in that lovely straight spine. And you can have a play around with whether you press your hands into the floor to help you up, or just resting the hands lightly onto the mat. With hardly any pressure into the hands, you're going to be working into the postural muscles more. So this is engaging all of the muscles down the back, and at the same time, we're finding the flexion in the spine, lifting up. And we're just working into the top section of the back to start with. It's a kind of neglected area of the spine in some of these exercises. So rather than pushing up higher, where we work down, further down the spine, we're just coming up, just kind of around mid-center of the back here. For the ladies, where the bra line is roughly. And your pubic bone is just pressing gently down into the mat. So you want to try and keep that pelvis in neutral alignment. And then we're going to go with alternate leg lifts. Right leg lifts. Inhale, lower. Exhale, left leg lifts. Inhale, lower. And just find a little bit of contact in the tops of the thighs, so you know the leg's not going up to the side. It's definitely lifting up. you want to come up a bit higher, have a go at doing so. If you want to, you can have a go at lifting both legs off by now for 4 more. 4. Keep single legs going if you want, or if you just want to keep the legs going without the torso lifting. And then rest off. So rest your head on your hands and just let your hips rock from side to side, just to release off tension in the spine. All right, so the next variation is going to work a little bit deeper, a little bit harder into the back. So the options here are to keep your forehead onto the floor, squeezing elbows and shoulders towards each other. This is option 1. Inhale, release, exhale. Option 2 is lifting the torso up, squeezing elbows and shoulders towards each other. Option 3 is lifting legs and torso and squeezing shoulder blades and elbows towards each other. Inhale, lower. Still keep that belly button lifted as much as you can. Try and resist the urge to use your tummy muscles to help push you up. You want to be using the muscles in the back. Any pain or pinching, rest off. Don't do it, because I don't want you hurting yourselves, okay? So if there's any pain, just release off. Don't go up so high. You know, just if you want to just keep the single leg lifts going maybe, or roll onto your back and hug your knees into your chest just to give yourself a little moment to release, okay? All right, so we're going to go with, let's try 8. Breathing in, prepare. As you breathe out, option 1, choose your option. Option 2, lifting the torso up. Inhale, lower. Up for the 3rd one. Arms and legs and torso lifting. Inhale, lower. 4. Nice deep breaths. 3. 2. And 1. And lower down. Well done. Okay, roll onto your backs and hug your knees into your chest. Hug the knees in, rock from side to side. If you want to increase this stretch, lift the head up towards the knees, or if hugging both knees into the chest doesn't feel right, just hug single legs in, release it down, and change. Circle the knees round, so hold onto the knees, circle round in one direction. Again, just use one leg at the time if you don't want to lift both knees. Reversing back the other way. And then lengthen out through the body, arms above the head, legs long, point the toes. And then we're going to roll onto our sides for some side leg lifts. Okay, so just make sure that you can see down the fronts of your legs and the tips of your toes, so your legs aren't too far forward or too far back, like a banana. And your top hip is over the underneath hip, top shoulder over the underneath shoulder. And a little drawing pin now underneath your waist here. So just a little press down of the hip. Imagine the drawing pin is underneath here. You don't want to prickle yourself on that drawing pin. If you can, keeping the hand on the thigh, but if you feel a bit wobbly, feel free to put your hand down forward here. So we're going to go in leg lifts. Inhale, lower. Exhale. Roughly 8 of these. And then keeping the leg lifted, pulsing up for 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Breathe in, 2, 1. Circle the leg in one direction. 1, 3, 4. Reversing the other way. 4, 3, 2, 1. And then trying to keep that leg lifted, we're going to lift the underneath the leg up to meet it. Inhale, lower. So this top leg is at hip height and it stays there. And then we're just squeezing the underneath the leg up. And one. Oh, lower down. Little drop of the knee forward, have a little pound out, little release off. Now, feet together. So your feet are now in line with your bottom. So they're not forward here. They're slightly, they feel like they're behind you, but they're just in line with your bottom. Knees bent for the clam. Inhale, close. Lovely deep breath. You're going to start feeling that warmth come into the hip now. So we're just working the hips, the rotation, the mobility of the hips, the strength of the hips here. And then keeping the knees together and lifting the foot. So again, just working into the hip in a slightly different way with a different focus. So we're just aiming for roughly 8. To be honest, I'm not necessarily counting very accurately, but you're going to get the idea and you will be able to stop, pause this video as you wish. So roll onto your backs now, and that ankle of that top leg is going to go just above the knee of the underneath leg. To press gently on that knee. Nice deep breath, so just a little release out for that hip. Just try and find that internal release. So I normally say to close your eyes, really feel the muscles just letting go. Lifting up that underneath leg. Lifting up the foot. And slowly release off, and then we're going to swing the legs around and repeat everything on the other side. Okay, going for top leg lifting. Keep that belly button drawing through to the spine. Imaginary drawing pin underneath the waist here. There, pulses up, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Circles around. 1, 2, 3, 4. Deep breaths, reversing. 4, 3, 2, 1. Leaving that top leg at hip height, lifting the underneath leg up. Inhale, lower. Inhale, lower. Exhale on the exertion. One. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Give that a little pulse out. Little release off. And then rolling onto the back. So the ankle of that leg that's just been on top, then just above the knee of the underneath leg. And pressing the knee open. Lifting up the feet, holding onto the thigh. I apologise, I'm starting to lose the light in here. I hope you can still see me. Hopefully you'll be able to still see me at the end of this video as well. Okay, and then feet on the floor, you can just let the knees just gently start rocking from side to side. We're going to start working into the abs now. Oh, I've just remembered. I've missed out my clam here. You'll see from the video we did this on the other side. So feet, heels in line with the bottom. So we're doing roughly 8 of the clam here. If you need to pause this video whilst you complete your 8, then please do. And then we're doing 8 of these ones. I apologise about that. So there you go. You can just quickly pause and return to that little moment there, hopefully, and then with the stretch out. Okay, so now, like I say, we were just having a little rock from side to side here. And then taking the arms to shoulder height, you can, with the belly button drawing through to the spine, just let the knees roll over to the side. And then let your head roll away to the opposite direction of the knees. Holding it here. Hold it here for as long as you feel you need to, but we're now going to, for this purposes of this video, roll over to the other side. Let the head roll away. Feel free to pause the video if you want to hold these for longer. Just find that inner release. Closing your eyes if you need to, really using that deep breath. And knees back to center. And then keeping the knees lifted now, we're just going to keep a circle going with the palms are on the floor. So we're now using the abdominals to control this circle. It's going to come here this way so you can see better. And you can decide how big you want to make this circle. If you want to take the feet further away, knees more over to the side. But using the abdominals to control this. So think about your belly button dropping down to the floor and your lower back stays in contact with the mat, reversing that circle back the other way. Lovely. If you want to, if you'd rather do this with single legs, feel free to. See if you can challenge yourself to keep the pelvis still. Reversing the circles all the way, changing legs. Trying to keep this static leg nice and still. And if you want to challenge the abs a bit more, you can do these circles with the toes of the static leg just resting lightly on the mat. So you're not using that foot to help stabilize you. You're now really relying on your abs. And then a little reverse curl. So lifting the hips up, inhale, lower. Lower back pressing down, hips up, inhale, lower. And again, you can gradually make this bigger, or you can just keep it very small. It doesn't have to be a big movement. You can extend the legs out gradually. You can lift the hips up higher. So if any of you who know me, I like to sometimes get a little bit creative, really thinking about that lower back staying into the mat if you want to take the legs out to the 45-degree angle. So not out, whoa, parallel to the floor, keeping the 45-degree angle here. Okay, so that's the reverse curl. And then we're going to go with the single leg stretch. So keeping the knees above the hips, extending the leg to the 45-degree angle. Lower back pressing gently down to the mat, belly button dropping down to the floor. Inhale, that's 1. Inhale, 2. Inhale in, exhale, extend. See what I did there? Exhale on the exertion or on the extension. So we're not taking it down here. We're not having it up here. If you want to, if it's too much to keep both knees lifted, option 1, keeping the feet on the floor. Like I say here, you're keeping these lifted. So with the torso, you don't want to think about lifting up with your chin here. You're trying to keep that torso lifted up. If it gets too much to hold the neck up, feel free to lower the head down. And as I say, just keep the legs going. Always keeping that lower back pressing into the mat. When you've done roughly your 8, hug your knees into your chest. And a lovely stretch out along the mat is a really nice way just to lengthen those abs. And then to finish off our ab section, feel free to do some hundreds. So hundreds are effectively 100 beats of the arms. Breathing in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's a set of 10. You want to try 10 sets of that. So we're breathing in, breathing out, and you can hold different positions of the legs. That lower back is always in contact with the mat, belly button dropping down. Single legs, both legs lifted with knees above the hips, or legs at the 45-degree angles. Head down is the option. I actually find that harder with the legs at the 45-degree angle. But you know, if you want to just keep the head down, or if you get tired at any point, please do just rest the head down. But again, you want to think about that chest lifting up to the ceiling. So try not to pull forward with the chest, the chin. There's a tuck back with the chin that you're aiming to get. So you're not lifting up with the chin and you're not crunching the chin into the chest. You're thinking about maintaining that alignment of the spine. I'm going to let you carry on with doing your hundreds while I'm talking. Some of you, I know that some of you in my classes like to just keep going even while I'm doing the demonstration. By the time I've actually started the exercise, you've all done your 100 already and you're ready to do 100 more. All right. And when you think you've done roughly 100, even if you don't make it to 100, just build up on it. You know, every day when you do hundreds, every single day. See if you know, if somebody does hundreds every day, I take my hat off to them, I really do. Keeping that lovely stretch out. And then we're going to finish with the bridge. Okay, so we're going to now put our feet hip distance on the floor and try and bring your heels in a bit closer to the bottom. Knees hip distance apart, pressing the lower back into the floor. Inhale, release. So this is just the warm up. And then you're going to gradually get a little bit higher in the hips each time. And again, if this does not feel right to you, don't do it. If you just want to keep, if you've got a bit of a dodgy back, just keep the little pelvic tilts going. But if you feel comfortable, if you're familiar with this, you know the options to go higher. And we're just going to gradually go a little bit higher each time, just to start with, because I really like my clients to find the technique of the bridge, because it really is something that you need to take time and care of as you press that lower back down. And then you can inhale as you come down, peeling back down vertebrae by vertebrae. Lower back comes down into contact with the mat, tailbone touches down, and release the pelvis back into neutral. Breathing in, breathing out. Okay, so I'm going to gradually find my way up, maybe with 4 goes. Finding my hips lifted, you can draw the shoulder blades towards each other, arms above the head. Belly button drawing through to the spine, lifting in the pelvic floor. And we're going to go either for heel lifts, option 1. Option 2 is padding through the feet. Trying to keep that pelvis as stable as possible, so you don't want to drop in the pelvis as you're lifting your feet up. Option 3, I think, lifting the knees higher. And option 4 is extending the legs up to the ceiling. So you decide, and you're doing roughly 8. If you can manage 8, that's brilliant. If it feels too intense for you to do 8, then please don't push yourselves. And then you can finish with your hips a little bit higher, breathing in. And as you breathe out, peeling back down, vertebrae by vertebrae, chest and rib cage heavy into the mat, lower back touches down, tailbone touches down, and your pelvis releases back into neutral. And that is you done and your hard work. So extend the legs out, arms above the head, give your legs a shake. Hug the knees into the chest, lifting the head up. Good, and then circle the knees round in opposite directions just to release off in the hips. Reversing back the other way. And then we're going to keep the right knee hugging into the chest, either foot of the left foot on the floor or extending it out. I hope you can still see me. I'm really losing the daylight here. Gosh, it's crazy. Nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, extending the leg up. I'll have to see what I can do in the editing suite so you can, I can lighten the image a bit. So closing your eyes in stretches just to really find that inner release. Try and straighten the leg as much as you can, holding onto the thigh or the calf and not behind the knee. And if you've got a nice straight leg, you can then start drawing that leg in a bit closer. And slowly release down, changing onto the left knee, hugging the left knee into the chest, little rock from side to side. Nice deep breath in. As you breathe out, extending that leg up to the ceiling, straightening the leg as much as you can. Really using those lovely deep breaths so that every out breath you either straighten the leg more or draw it in a little bit closer to you. In fact, if you've got any excuse me, Pilates bands, it's quite handy to hook them around your leg to help with stretching here. And then because I don't think you can see me anymore, I'm going to leave it there. But I invite you just to lie for a little bit longer. For those of you who've done Pilates before, you'll know the idea is that you just really try now and just relax. Focus on how your body's feeling. Give in to gravity now, so just let that core go. If you need to have a little fidget round, if anything doesn't feel quite right, then you might want to just have a little release out. You can have the feet on the floor. And I'm just going to let the music play for a little bit longer in this recording so that you can just take a moment for yourself. Take the focus inwards. Take some lovely deep breaths. And if you find any tension in your body, maybe do a body scan, scanning from the toes right through to the top of the head, and any tension you find, just try and breathe into that tension. And just visualize that oxygen that you're inhaling in, just massaging that joint or that muscle. Feeling nice and heavy into the floor. And then every breath that you take is a nice, clean, healthy, positive breath. And every exhale, imagine all the toxins leaving the body, all the stale air in the lungs, and try and release all of the air out. So keep breathing it out, breathing it out, breathing it out, until you need to breathe in again. Just feel really heavy. And when you're ready, you can take your time on this. You don't have to move right now, but I'm letting you know that when you are ready, you can just start circling the ankles and wrists again. You can take that lovely stretch through the body, pointing the toes, flexing the feet, and then slowly taking your time to come up to sitting again. Take your time. I look like I'm in candlelight now. Breathing in, reaching up, and exhale, release. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift up one last time. And taking it down. Thank you so much for joining me for that class. See if I can find some light here. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you are still lying on your mat, relaxed and released out. You don't have to go anywhere unless you need to get on and do something, I don't know. But hopefully you can just take your moment now to just chill and feel the benefit of that lovely workout, all that circulation boosting. We're going to have been busting those toxins out of the body, a little detox as well, boosting the metabolism. We'll have increased the heart rate slightly, hopefully burnt some, calories. Unfortunately, it's not a full-on cardio fat burning routine, but it will hopefully leave you feeling nice and toned and flexed and stretched. All right, thank you so much, everybody. Take care.